Long ago, when the Civil War carved its way through the hills and hollows of West Virginia, a lone Confederate courier rode hard through the thick mountain fog. His name had been lost to time. Some say he was called James. Others just called him the Rider. But what they all remember is how he died. It was a moonless night near what's now Greenbrier County. The rider carried a sealed satchel pressed tight to his chest. Dispatches, orders, secrets meant for a southern outpost deep in the mountains. He was known to be fast, quiet, and loyal. A man who could disappear into the trees like smoke and reappear miles away with barely a leaf out of place. But that night, he didn't vanish. Somewhere along a narrow ridge trail, just wide enough for a single horse, he was ambushed. Union soldiers, maybe scouts or deserters, stepped from the trees like ghosts and dragged him from his horse before he could reach for his pistol. They accused him of spying, of sneaking behind the lines, and gave him no trial, no mercy. They killed him there in the dirt. And then, for reasons no one can truly explain, they cut off his head. They say they buried it separately. Others claim they kept it as a warning, but most agree it was never found. The horse returned to camp alone, its sides lathered in sweat, its saddle stained with blood. As for the rider, his body was buried in an unmarked grave somewhere off the ridge. No cross, no name, just silence. But it didn't stay silent for long. The first to hear him was an old trapper living alone near the trail. One foggy morning, just before dawn, he woke to the sound of pounding hooves, fast and frantic, echoing down the hollow. He opened his door and saw nothing. No rider, no horse, just the sound fading into the mist. Then came the sightings. A figure in gray, mounted on a black steed, galloping along the roads without a head. No face, no eyes, just a dark stump where the neck ended, and in its place, a streak of blood that never dried. He appears on cold nights when the air feels wrong and the fog rolls in low and thick. His horse's hooves don't always touch the ground. Sometimes he glides. Sometimes he waits, just off the trail, watching, hunting, looking for the head that they took from him.
In the fall of 1978, a group of teenagers were driving along a back road near Droop Mountain Battlefield, returning from a Halloween hayride. According to their report, the fog rolled in unnaturally fast, and soon they were completely covered. That's when they heard the horse hooves behind their truck, loud, sharp, and fast. One kid looked back and swore he saw a rider in gray slumped over the saddle, but no head. They floored it. The hoofbeats followed them almost a mile before vanishing completely. When they got into town, the back of the truck was splattered with mud and a streak of something red.
Campers at a small site near the Greenbrier River Trail were woken up in the middle of the night by the sound of galloping and what one person described as snorting, monstrous horse breath just outside their tent. They saw hoof prints circling the campsite, but no prints leading in or out, and no animal tracks, just those deep, horse-shaped indentions in the soft dirt. And one camper claimed he briefly saw a dark figure on horseback with a glint of metal where his face should have been.
There were multiple stories of people hiking or biking in the area who experience missing time after hearing galloping, only to look at their phones and find that hours had passed. In one report from 2019, a woman was hiking near the Civil War earthworks and heard hooves, turned around, and everything got eerily quiet. When she came back to herself, the sun had dipped way lower than it should have. She later described the experience like she was being watched by something angry. Man, those were some good ones. Real creepy. The whole thing's real creepy, but those little encounter stories I also found were like the cherry on top, I think.
Yeah. So let's see. So they all are tied together,
Mm-hmm.
but span like, I don't know
Hundreds
what,
of years.
150 years approximately, I guess,
Ah,
going back Civil War to early
yeah,
2000s.
yeah.
So
And what was it, 2019?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, 2019, the missing
talking
time.
1860s to early 2000s or late 2000s to up to, well, just recently, essentially. I
Yeah,
mean, it's it's the Headless Horseman tale or the story, but the Headless Horseman of Greenbrier County,
yeah.
essentially.
There's
So
a lot of creepy stuff that it goes on I've heard about in Greenbrier County. We might have to go out there for some videos
and
one
we
day.
should definitely check it out. I mean, that would be fun. We could
The Greenbrier ghosts out there.
lots of footage we can film. I can fly
Yeah.
my drone around and check things out.
Yep.
It'd be
Yep.
fun.
Yep. I
But
bet.
this is definitely a with Greenbrier being right here close to us, it's a Appalachian haunting vibe to it.
There's also a Toyota dealership up there that I went and test drove trucks at a couple
Oh,
years ago.
let's see.
Yeah.
So there's sadness, there's dread, there's frustration, there's fascination.
Yeah.
You've got a senseless brute, a senseless, murder is kind of. I mean,
Yeah.
Confederates, I guess, they were the bad guys. Maybe he was the bad guy, and the Union soldiers found him. But then there was, you know, no trial, nothing, just straight
Yeah.
to beheading.
Yeah.
So it's you know, a heavy emotional weight there that
Oh yeah.
he's stuck with, and then he's forever stuck here or there rather.
Yeah.
So we get us reading it. I mean, I get a little bit of chills and
Mhm.
curiosity, like the UFO stories and the other stories we went through. I mean, wanting to explore the area now.
Yeah.
So it was good pacing with the story that was shared. So, and some good imagery again, like the UFO one, because they're talking about the streak of blood that never dries,
Oh yeah, that was
and that
creepy.
the horse's hooves not don't always touching the ground. Yeah, it kind of gives a creepy, haunting picture for you.
Mhm.
And then you know going from almost 100 years later, a truck chase, um, and then again 20 to 30 years later, roughly,
The
with
campers.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely unique, interesting, suspenseful, and like I already said, it makes us want to explore and think and more and try to just
Yeah, the
be
first thing I
more
thought
involved.
was like, I want to go out there now.
Yeah, so it's really good, really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. Well, if you've got a story of yours that you'd like to see get featured on here, you can email us at spookyappalachia@gmail.com, or you can mail it to us. Write it down and mail it to us to P.O. Box 569, Radford, Virginia 24143. And don't forget to share, subscribe, tell all your friends, and don't forget, stay spooky.